Hello. So it's been a while, and in today's video, I'm going to cover mostly just recent events involving Charlie Kirk, which I'm sure everybody knows what happened. So I'm going to break it up into three sections. So let's go ahead and just get started. Like I said, it's been a while. I really haven't had too much. There's things I've wanted to talk about with this podcast, but I wanted to wait on some of the topics, and then just life was getting in the way, and I really didn't know, okay, that's old news now. Let's move on. Let's not focus on things that my voice isn't going to help. The Birdman, he keeps attacking the same people over and over. You keep hearing the same stuff in the media. There's mass shootings going on, murders going on, and I've said this before, and I'll say this again. This feels like World War III. We are in World War III. And this stuff is not just happening here in the U.S. The world has gone insane. The world has gone crazy. This stuff is happening everywhere. I can't watch any news feeds without hearing about this protest going on in this country, or this riot going on in another country. We have countries that are involved in civil wars right now. Wars that have been going on and on and on. England, Australia, Russia, and I'm sure you know the rest. And even in Canada, they're having issues where they're driving their own citizens in Canada crazy. But a lot of the focus is, yes, here on ourselves at home. And with the recent event, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. That is how it is actually being declared. He wasn't just murdered. He was assassinated. And he wasn't even really 100% a political figure. He just talked about political things. Most of the time, most of the videos I ever saw was him talking about trans or abortions. And I fully agreed with him on every aspect of how he would defend against it. Granted, he didn't go nearly as far as some other people I've watched. But I want to take just a moment and do a quick moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, people monsterize this man. People villainize him. But you can tell that anybody who's done that does not really pay attention. They hear it from other sources, and they stick with it. They run with it. Because their side, and of course we're talking about the left here, has made them out to be bad people. Of course they've made them out to be bad people, because they're on the opposite side. but they're not actually bad people. And if you listen, if you were actually open, like he was trying to be open. If you had a good argument, you could have changed his mind. But the problem with the left's arguments is that they have no leg to stand on. Their arguments do not make any sense. And a lot of the times, they're just straight up delusional lies. I want to start this, I guess, first by saying, how did I become aware of Charlie Kirk? I don't see too many people often talking about that. And although, granted, Charlie Kirk was not one of the first people I came across in this venue, I did respect the videos I saw of him. I was like, hell yeah, this guy is smart. He knows what he's talking about. And he would back it up just like all the other people who do the exact same thing. So I started by catching a few videos of Louder with Crowder, where he used to go out, I don't know if he still does, and he would do these segments called Change My Mind. Now, maybe he got the idea from Charlie Kirk. I don't know. I had heard the name when I was watching these videos, but I didn't really see any clips from him at that time. I only watched the ones with Louder from Crowder. And that sort of introduced me into watching the Matt Walsh show. And once in a blue moon, Matt Walsh would bring up Charlie Kirk. And once in a while, Louder with Crowder would bring up Charlie Kirk also. And that got me interested. So I did start watching some of his videos. And he was fair. He was honest. He didn't cut people off. Crowder would actually be a little bit sassy with his remarks, whereas Charlie tried to be friendly all the time. He didn't give no sass back. He didn't make the person feel dumb. He tried to reason and just lay out the facts. That's the problem, is the left can't accept the facts. In their minds, the only truth is their truth, which is a complete lie. Any chance of showing them the truth will shatter their world, and they can't have that. I know, because I have talked to people in real life who are on the left. I don't know if you saw or listened to the podcast where I talked about this, but I had an entire discussion when the whole immigration thing was soon after Trump became president. The person I was talking with was like trying to defend it and trying to say that it's not right to evict or kick these people out of the country. And it's like, well, you wouldn't let a homeless person into your house and just do whatever they want. You probably wouldn't even let the homeless person in your front door. But even if you did, you would expect them to follow your rules, or they could get out. And to say otherwise is a complete lie. I do not see any of these leftists bringing homeless people home, giving these people a place to stay. Why? Because if they did that, their homes would become trash pits, drug dens. They would probably be murdered in their sleep. All their stuff would be taken so that they can... I have seen videos of people who ask somebody for, like, do you want... I just saw one recently, in fact. There was a guy, he said, do you want the sandwich or do you want the alcohol? And he went through like 3 or 4 homeless people. The first 3 said they wanted the alcohol, so he gave it to them. But then the fourth person said they wanted the sandwich because they haven't eaten in a couple days, and inside the sandwich was like $500. Yeah, that's not going to change anybody's life drastically, but it's going to get that person fed for a while. And he went through 4 people all in this one little area. It's just like that. It's just like that scene from the most recent season of Squid Games. I mean, Squid Games could not have laid it out any clearer. Of course you should take the food if you're hungry, living on the street, starving. But no. So, would you let a homeless person into your home? Would you let them run wild? That's what I asked her. I said, you wouldn't do this. And she didn't really have much of an answer. She kind of shut up at that point. Because she knew she wouldn't do it. She just didn't want to say it. But anyways, back to my bit here. So that's how I was introduced to Charlie Kirk. From watching Crowder, then watching the Matt Walsh show, hearing about him a couple times, then basically checking out. Now, his content to me was a lot like Louder with Crowder's. So, since I had already burned through everything Louder with Crowder had for the Change My Mind segments, that's when I decided to go ahead and just start watching more Charlie Kirk. And it's really sad that this has happened to him. And I can see why everybody cares. Yes, there are people out there who don't feel like, there might be people out there that are like, oh, well, I didn't know him, so I don't feel bad. I have talked to somebody today who basically said that to me. They're like, but did you know him? And it's like, no, but I followed his content. And now he won't have any more content. Not even on other topics, because he talked about other things. And I even checked those videos out. Like, he was recently immortalized on South Park, in a way, indirectly. And, he had a whole episode where he talked about that. It was kind of fun to watch him have a very different reaction. Yeah, they were poking fun at him, but that's what makes a good person, is they can take a joke when they're being roasted. For most people who get poked at by South Park, that has not mainly ever been the case. Most people get upset. And the guys from South Park, they just keep doing it. So it's kind of like a real culture thing. Like, if South Park picks to put you in their episode, then you made it. You are top quality content. They chose to put you in their show. I mean, I know there's been a lot of issues. I've heard that there's been a lot of issues with them now having Trump. I don't particularly care for the way they make Trump seem in this. I keep waiting for it to actually be like some kind of ruse. Because, I mean, my theory is right now that this is not really Trump. This is Saddam Hussein. If you follow the South Park lore, Saddam Hussein talked exactly like this, looked pretty much the same, did a lot of the exact same things they're having this Trump character do. So I think it's actually Saddam in disguise come back to reclaim Satan. And because I don't like the way they're portraying it. I'm not getting mad about it. I mean, it's just not my favorite. Before, they hinted at Trump, but they didn't directly call him out, where Mr. Garrison, who is back to being a man, kind of looked like he had the blonde hair and the orange skin, which I wish people would stop doing that, but that's my thing. But yeah, I mean, so here's what I know. This all happened yesterday, and I'm hoping to get this out on the 11th. But this all happened yesterday, so it's all still very fresh, very new. They have not yet caught the shooter, but they are thinking it was like a professional. And, I mean, if they're smart, then they have completely blocked off the entire state of Utah. I don't know if that's even possible, but hopefully they have completely blocked off the state of Utah. No one goes in, no one comes out. Somebody in Utah did it. And within an hour, they should have had all the main roads blocked off. I mean, they should be really getting close to being on the tail of the right person. They've had 2 suspects that they've interrogated, and they have not yet, as of the time of this video, actually found the person. But hopefully they will find the person, and that will put some minds at ease. But this is a powder keg. And we're going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, or I come back, I'm going to go ahead and explain what I mean by this is a powder keg. And where I think we're going to be going from here as a society. So, see y'all in a little bit.
In the shadows, the tale unfolds. A guardian lost, the story holds. Shame the ordinary, thrust in the light. To fight the darkness, to make it right. Chosen by fate, path unknown. To rise up as more than just skin and bone. Oh, guardian of the light, stand strong and proud. In the face of darkness, rise from the crowd. With every spell cast, let the magic ignite. Shame the new Santa brings hope to the night. Whispers of magic, he steps through the door. In a world of wonder, he yearns to explore. Secrets lurking behind every charm. To wield the power, he must stay warm. The North Pole calls, the winter inside. For the spirit out of joy, he must learn to lie. Oh, guardian of the light, stand strong and proud. In the face of darkness, rise from the crowd. With every spell cast, let the magic ignite. Shame the new Santa brings hope to the night. In this wondrous tale of courage and might, the legacy lives on in the heart of the light.
So, as I said before the break, I feel like the assassination of Charlie Kirk is a powder keg. Now, granted, and full disclaimer, I I'm going to say publicly that I would never do anything to anyone just based on their beliefs. But the rest of the world is not me. Some people are going to be very angry about this. And the problem with this is that, once again, just like they always do, the left immediately started celebrating this man's death. And this is not the first time this has happened. Whenever an actor has passed away, they celebrate the person's death. They say, oh, well, this guy, I remember when Sean Connery passed away, I think that was just last year. Immediately, people were calling him misogynistic because he played Bond. Because he played a character in a movie that had lots of women. That was with lots of women. Attractive women. Oh, wait, who was saying this stuff? Ugly women. Beautiful women weren't saying this. And I actually thought about, this goes back to some of the content, like the whole Sydney Sweeney thing. I was going to make a podcast and talk about this, but there was nothing out there that was said that I could add to. It's like everybody had already said everything I could possibly say. But I might touch back on that at the end here. So we'll put a pin in that, because I actually thought of some stuff I might be able to point out. But let's go back. So they do this all the time. And I think that this case, saying it this time, is the last straw. And I am not going to be surprised if these people who are going online and saying stuff don't start suffering repercussions. Either they lose their jobs, they get terrorized, not hurt, but terrorized, meaning people throw things at them, like rotten eggs. People harass them. And the cops do nothing because the cops know who these people are. Or worse, these people start going missing. That's the big thing. These people might just suddenly disappear. And it'll always be a wonder to everyone. Did they go and disappear on their own because they were afraid of what people were doing? Or did they get disappeared? Did someone make them disappear? Now, I'm not calling for that, but I would not be surprised if that stuff didn't start happening. Like I said, you want to put this as a right versus left? Well, this is about as far as I think people are willing to go. I think people are just done. They're done with the insane crap the left keeps doing, and we keep saying, no, they'll change. We got the one responsible, but maybe that'll change. No. The one responsible, okay, they're done. They are done. It's the supporters you need to start worrying about. They need to be done too. Either kick them out of the country or destroy their lives like they've wanted to destroy the lives of everyone on the right. These people will probably not know a moment's rest after all this. Once this starts coming out, I mean, everybody is knowing about Charlie Kirk's death now. And there will probably be a brief period where people will seemingly let this die down. But that's when these people on the left should start to become really worried. And I mean, here is a video clip from a news source that found a clip, and I'm just going to show you what they showed.
There are a lot of people that are like, no matter what side of politics you're on, you should never celebrate something bad happening to someone. I, on the other hand, do cheer when bad things happen to bad people.
Charlie Kirk just got shot.
Well, breaking news, folks. Seems somebody just took a shot at one of the Fantafast's favorite 5-mile-wide mouthpieces, Charles Chuckle Kirk.
Charlie Kirk got shot and killed. How do you feel?
Happy. Goodbye.
Wow. Did you see that Charlie Kirk just got shot and killed?
That's good.
Wow. That's good. That's good that people are getting shot just off a political view?
Charlie Kirk gets shot and killed today. We're just getting people's opinions. How do you feel about that?
Girl, someone had to do it. And that's how I feel at this point in time. But
You know, I appreciate your honesty. I truly do. So you said someone had to do it.
yes. Try not to get all pulled up into that, but he was a misogynist. He was a disgusting person with disgusting beliefs.
Pretty disgusting stuff. Do these people not realize that by showing your face, posting this stuff online, you have friends? Some of your friends might be on the right, and you don't know it. Your family, some of your family might be on the right. And these people have probably cut their family off. Your boss, the person that gives you a job, that lets you work at your job, might be on the right also. Did you vet your boss to make sure they were a leftist like you before? And then also, you have to go outside. Your neighbors, the people living on your street, can you say that they're all leftist? I'm going to say that's a no. I'm going to say that there's a very good chance you will be spotted. And when people start looking to dox you the way the left has famously been doxing people on the right, well, that can't be very good for you at that point. I would be scared. If I were on the left and I was posting my face publicly, making trash claims the day that somebody was assassinated, I would be scared out of my mind to go outside. Honestly, I wouldn't have done it. I mean, there is a time and a place for things. You picked the wrong time. You picked the wrong place. And you guys on the left, you kept doing it. You kept pushing, and you kept pushing, and you kept pushing. And I don't know what it's going to take. I mean, I do not think the president will even let this settle. I would not be surprised if Donald Trump declares all these videos, all these comments as some form of treason. I mean, I really wouldn't. I would not be surprised. Because this is vile. It's been vile for the last 10 years. Yes, this has been going on for like 10 years. It started off extremely slow. And only about 5-6 years ago did it really start ramping up on the left. Right before Biden got into office, as Trump was leaving office, that's when it started to really ramp up. And now, almost a year into Trump's presidency again, they can't handle it. Well, they've been going about this the wrong way, and I think that people are actually done. So if I were them, I'd be worried. I'd be scared and probably booking the first class ticket out of this country. I don't know where they could go because, I mean, it's not good anywhere, but they don't even like it here anyway, so they can leave. And that is what has always baffled me about the left. This whole time, even when Biden was in office, they still were talking. I know people in my personal life that talk bad about this country. And I've told that person, I'm like, shut up. Shut up or get out. I've said this in videos before. If you don't like it here, if you live in a house and you don't like that house, why would you stay in that house? Go find a better house. I mean, it's not a really hard concept. If you don't like where you live, get out of it. Don't fight to stay in a crappy place you don't like. If you think the place is bad, then get out of it. Let somebody else have your home. And I believe that's what we should do with some of these illegal immigrants. The ones that actually aren't committing any crimes, the ones that aren't criminals, that just came in illegally, I think we should let them stay. And I think we should start kicking some of these other people out. People who are Americans, who publicly claim they don't like this country or the way it's run, even though it's voted on by the people, we should kick them out. They are problems. Problems we don't need. They don't want to be here. Let them be another country's problem. We'll even give them a choice of which country would they like to go to. And they will never be allowed back in. They will be arrested and maybe even executed if they try to come back. They are exiled from this country. Not just kicked out, not just taken out, but exiled. You do not come back. You are not welcome. You have a trespass on this property. If you come back into America, you will have broken the law to the severe extent. Unless you file, maybe there could be a loophole where you can file to come back in, but it's going to require a written apology, a public apology, and maybe some sort of brand. Okay, maybe the branding thing's too far, but you get my point. Although, honestly, they should. They should get a little brand right on their neck that says MAGA. And that's the other thing. The left, they want to keep calling MAGA cultist. And this is another thing I did want to bring up. And I was looking for the right time or the right moment. Well, this is it. They need to stop with calling people who are MAGA cultist. They don't know what they don't know what words in the English language mean. Then they need to not use them. There is nothing in this world cult-like about wanting your home to be as good as it can be. There is nothing criminal about that. Well, everything I talk about, I know I keep bringing this all back to your own home. But just think, that's what this country is. This country is your home. It's your house. It's your own. It's your private domicile. Okay? So if you have a house, I don't own a house, but I rent. I rent my home. I still want my home to be somewhat nice. Do I take perfect care of my home? Anybody who knows me personally will say, it's not perfect, but he could do a little bit better. But there are people out there who commit more to their home, that every inch, every surface is cleaned every single day. There is a daily vacuuming procedure that they do. They clean the windows once a week. They paint any spots on the weekends, cut their grass almost religiously. Their house looks like it belongs in a freaking magazine. There are people out there like that. They're not cultists because they want their home to look the very best, brand spanking new. It's also like a car. There are people out there who take extremely well care of their car. So why would you not want your country, which is like your home or like your car, to be the very best it can be, to be running at peak efficiency? And when something is wrong in your home or wrong with your car, you need to fix it. And this whole problem has been a problem that we've let go for too long. Now, I don't know much about cars, but in the realm of being a house, which that's what even our own history has said that the country is like our house. We've had these leaky pipes for too long. They need to be taken out completely and replaced. And when I say leaky pipes, I'm talking about the left. The entire thing needs to be dealt with by the government. And they can whine, and they can cry, and they can scream bloody murder about how it's not fair. But you know what? You know what's not fair? All the bullshit that we go through. As a society, we are sick of this shit. We're sick of the crime. We're sick of the illegals. We're sick of the hatred. Because the hatred mostly comes from the left. I'm making this video. I am upset, and I am making this video right now as a response to something that happened from the left. Even I would not be making this video over just the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk being assassinated is a tragedy. It is a disaster. But it's even more of a disaster when people pile on, ranting and raving about how good it is, as you saw earlier. Those people are sick and disgusting. Most of them don't even look that good. And they have friends, and they have family, they have neighbors. People will see them when they leave their house. Some of them have lots of tattoos, which makes them very easy to identify. And they stupidly made videos that got put online, and when you make a video with your face on it, well, your face seems to be there forever. Even if you delete the videos now, there are plenty of other videos like this one. People can find them. People can find information. The left was very good at doxing people, and I'm sure we have plenty of people on the right that can do just as good at doxing. You're not exclusive to that club. You're not the only ones with skills. Now, I hope, like I said before, I hope this doesn't happen. But I'm not going to be sad if it does. I don't think you'll find many people who are going to be sad if something happens to these people. Whether the government steps in and has them arrested, or please let them get deported, or they suddenly disappear. I don't get angry very often. I don't get upset a whole lot in my personal life. I have had arguments with friends of mine. I've had discussions. And even when I'm arguing, I usually don't get very mad. But this really makes me mad. Because this is just vile. This makes our country look like shit. You are throwing shit at your own house, stinking up the block. You're going outside, you're running down the neighborhood, you threw shit at your house, and now you're throwing shit on everyone else's house. Not a pretty picture. Because at the end of the day, we can clean our houses. You're the one still covered in shit, though. So. But that is just, it's vile. It is the most worst thing. And yeah, I know I'm not the only one to say this. Not going to be the last. But like I said, how do you not get the point that this country is your home? Unless you are going to leave, you should want your home to be the best it can be. And if you're, okay, we're not even telling you you got to do anything to take care of it. We'll take care of it. We will clean the house and let you be lazy. All we ask you to do is shut the fuck up about it. You don't need to go out publicly and start calling us names because you don't like the way we're cleaning the house. Well, if you didn't like it, you should have done it yourself. If the left didn't like the way this country is being run, maybe they should have voted for a president who wasn't falling asleep on the job. Because, and here's the most important part, the world only got worse the 4 years Biden was in office. And Biden didn't do much. Kamala didn't do much. She was supposed to go down to the border a couple times, and she didn't do that. Nobody tried to kill Biden. Nobody wanted to kill Biden. But somebody took a shot at Trump. And if I were Trump and my friend had just been killed and someone had already tried to kill me, I mean, that's the thing. Like, Trump could have came into office and he could have laid the hammer down after his assassination attempt, and he could have started doing things But I think it's going to be this. I think it's going to be the death of Charlie Kirk, a friend of his, someone that really was a good person to him and stood by his side, much like Elon Musk did. I think this is what's going to spark Trump to actually do something. I don't know what yet. It's going to be very interesting to see what he does. But the left, they need to be sent a huge message. They need to be shown that their attitude, their behavior, basically, he's already started by sending in the National Guard into major cities where there's lots of crimes. That's a good start. But he also needs to start taking down these public figures that, or even these, I don't know if he'd call TikTokers really public figures, but these loudmouths, in charging them with basically terrorism. Because they're the ones instigating more and more terrors. And yes, all these things that keep happening are acts of terrorism. Plain and simple. A protest does not involve burning buildings down like the BLM riots. Here, let me just ask you a question. Everybody says, well, back when Biden was in office, the left constantly claimed how horrible, how out of control, how insane January 6th was. It was so bad, they would actually say this. I'm not lying, I'm not kidding, I'm not exaggerating. They would say it was worse than 9/11. Some people making their way through the Capitol, mobbing up the Capitol. Let's put it that way. I don't know if it was, I've heard stories that it was guided, that it was just a ton of people. But even if they mobbed their way through, the Capitol, causing no real damage, not killing anyone. Yeah, people died after that day, but no one died on that day. No one died on January 6th. That is worse than planes filled with people that crashed into the World Trade Center. And I think there was another location. The January 6th is worse than 9/11. People on the ground who were hit by the debris, firefighters who would end up losing their lives, all this stuff is not as bad as a group of people mobbing the Capitol. Oh, sorry, I forgot something. That's right. The worst crime of all, some guy took a shit on Nancy Pelosi's desk. That's what probably makes it worse than 9/11 in their eyes. Honestly, I would think the thing where hundreds of people died would be worse, and most people with a brain would be thinking, oh, that's worse. But nope, not them. According to them, according to the left, January 6th is the worst thing. The BLM riots. Here, let's go back to what I was starting to say. The BLM riots. Lots of businesses were burned down, broken into, plundered, like they're trying to be pirates. Funny, the Capitol did not burn down. Nobody lit it on fire. It did not go up in flames. But again, according to these people, January 6th is the worst thing ever. I think it's the worst thing ever because people lied. And their lies were called out publicly. Like, there was documented proof that these people were lying. And so many people I've watched have debunked a lot of the January 6th stuff. But the left, they don't want to hear it. They want to revel in it. They idolize criminals until finally the criminals are brought out into the light. We just, not less than a week ago, like at the beginning of the week or something, there was a woman who was taking refuge here in America from Russia. And she was working at a job to make ends meet. And she was stabbed by a black man. And everybody I've watched that did talk about it said none of the news media was covering it. Until finally the news media was like, yeah, well, they're calling us out because we're not covering it. Well, yeah, because, normally you guys would be on this. This should have been what you guys were on immediately. But no, it was a black man. So, nope, can't put that in the news. And that's another topic I wanted to discuss too. Was, a lot more people, even black people, are getting tired of the crime. And then they complain, the left complains when Trump decides, I'm going to use any means necessary to stop crime in our cities. I'm putting you on lockdown. Hell, you're lucky he hasn't declared martial law in your city with curfews. Home searches to find gangs and drugs. I would not be opposed to that either. National Guard comes through, looks through your room, looks through your house, looks for any guns, any sign that you might be a gang member. Looks for anything illegal. I'd actually be okay with that. Let's weed out some of these bad criminals and start taking care of it. You want to call him a dictator? You want to call Trump a dictator? Maybe he should show you what a dictator would be like. And I'm sure there's something. Like I said, people can sit there and complain about, it was free speech. Yeah, you're right. But you know what? You on the left, you gave us the perfect comeback to that. You're right. It's free speech. Not freedom from consequences, though. Things you say do have consequences. And I think it's time the left starts getting a dose of their own medicine and starts suffering some of those consequences. So yeah, all these people who spoke out and decided they were going to be big assholes, they should be arrested, charged with treason, put in jail for the rest of their lives, or at least for 20 years. 20 years because I made a video. Think about how embarrassing that would be to say, I made an inappropriate video, so I was put into jail for 20 years. That would be so embarrassing. I made a video. I acted like a dumbass. I got arrested for treason. So I'm technically a traitor, and I got put into jail for prison for 20 years. I mean, there is a line between free speech and yeah, you can say it, but there's a time and a place. Putting it out online is not the right place. I mean, what are we doing here? Why are we letting double standards constantly rule our lives? White people get into so much trouble with black people over a single word. A single word could get you shot. That's, black people a lot. I grew up constantly hearing this. Black people always talking about how they lived in fear of the white people. Yet it's actually us that live in fear of them, because God forbid you say the wrong word to a black person. Like, you got to sit there and think how you speak to another person. Unless they actually like you, and you know that they like you, then you can say whatever you want. But if they don't like you, or you're just like someone new to them, saying the wrong thing. And I'm not even talking just about the N-word. A lot of black people will get all huffy and puffy over the phrase, you people. Yeah, you know what we're talking about. You people, meaning your race in general. Sorry, that's what it comes from, being a different skin color. It's just a fact. You're a different skin color. You have a group of people, a group of ancestors. Guess what? I'm going to give you some more facts too. Not every white person is the fucking same. Most white people all don't fucking come from the same place. Germans are white. Russians are white. English are white. My ancestors, the Irish, were white. And my ancestors, the Irish, suffered way more than fucking black people. And I'm tired of this, oh, well, the country was built on the backs of black slaves. No, it wasn't. It was built on the people who freaking came over here in boats and built the first 13 colonies. They didn't have slaves at that point. We didn't have slaves until maybe shortly before we decided to break away from England. But when we first came over here, we weren't bringing the slaves. We were bringing our builders and stuff. And they were probably bringing over the Irish to build their houses, to build their farms, to build their infrastructure. They wanted people they could absolutely trust before they brought in the workforce. It's just like any job. If you go get a job, like right now, my job, they're currently getting a new building. They're hiring the professionals to build the building before they put us, the employees, to work in the building. That's who built this country. The English. And then we took it from them. We said, we're not going to follow your rules anymore. And then, yes, we continued making deals with black people in Africa to buy slaves from them. And they said, hey, take our people. And then, as I pointed out before, we gave those people better lives. Better lives than they had. We taught them things. We clothed them. We fed them. We gave them a place to live. All we asked for, it was a work program. Before work programs existed. But the left doesn't want to see it that way. They want to see it as it's a horrible crime. But what really wasn't. Like I said, compare our slaves that we had back in the early days of this country and compare that to all the things that the Jews suffered in Egypt. I guarantee the Jews had it worse. Now, that's where I'm going to basically stop talking about this. Because, I mean, I don't know what else I can say about the left. This is just complete insanity. The left need to get over themselves. And with the death of Charlie Kirk, I'd be incredibly scared if I was a person on the left. I'd be like, oh shit. We're fucked. Because this is going to rally a lot of things to start changing. A lot of wheels are going to start moving. And the system's going to start really cracking down. And I think over the coming months, like I said, there'll be a week or two where things are going to seemingly slowly die down and it's going to run its cycle through the media. But all that, during that 2-week time, I guarantee people higher up are going to be studying and concocting some new plans to really start bringing the hammer down. At least I hope so. I hope this was a big enough wake-up call on the right to get things to start moving in a better direction to make America truly great again. Because I like living in a nice house. We lived in a fucking mansion here. And I don't see why people don't understand this point. We are the place everybody wants to come to. We are the house everybody wants to visit. Now, we, on the inside, want to visit other people's nice houses because they have things we want to go see that we don't have, like Paris, Italy, Japan. I mean, people might want to go see China if China would clean up its fucking act, but most of the time, people want to go travel to England or Australia. I know my parents, they like to take trips to other countries. That's what they've been doing with their retirement. They go to other countries because they want to see these places. I would love to go see Ireland. I may not want to live there, but I'd like to go visit there. I'd like to go visit Japan. I don't want to necessarily live in Japan. I might want to find a wife in Japan and come back. But I don't want to live there. I like living in the house that everybody else wants to come to. And that's just the thing. Here's my question. If America is not great, then why does everybody want to get in? Why are all these Mexicans coming here? Why are people from Canada? And yes, there are quite a bit of Canadians that see how bad their country is, and they want to come here. Why aren't the Mexicans building boats and sailing across the sea to go to Africa or England or Australia? Because it's not any better there than it is here. I mean, if they were really smart, they just get their own fucking country into shape, and then they build what we have in their home. Anybody can have the kind of house we have. They just have to build it themselves. They don't want to do that. They want to come live in our house. And when they come in, without our permission, without ringing the doorbell and asking if they can come in, stay for a while, when we find people who have broken in, we say, get out. Get out. We call the cops, we get them kicked out. It's not a hard concept. I don't see why people keep defending this. Why you have such an issue with it? Because you would not allow this in your actual home. You would never allow this. You wouldn't let a stranger who you've just met for the first time borrow your car. Why are you going to let somebody you never met just into your house? You wouldn't. Now, real quick, before I go, I said I wanted to talk about the Sydney Sweeney thing, so I'll try to cut this down to like 10 minutes real quick. But with everything that was said about the Sydney Sweeney thing, I didn't see what the point was of really going out and saying anything. Because, I mean, there was one factor that not a lot of people were bringing up. It was hinted at, but I think you just need to hear the honest truth about it. And the truth, I mean, there were plenty of people who were saying that, oh, well, this woman is ugly and she's mad because Sydney Sweeney's hot. So, essentially what they're trying to tell you, since you need a wake-up call and you need to hear the hard facts, sex sells. Sorry to say this as directly as possible, but that has been a selling point for advertising for fucking forever. Nobody wants to buy shit from an ugly person. They want to buy shit from good-looking people. Look at your coffee shops. I don't know if the rest of the world has had the boom in coffee shops the way my local area has, but all the freaking women that work at all these coffee shops, I swear, they have a strict hiring practice of you must be between 18 and 25. Because all these are young, attractive women. I've never seen a fat girl with tons of piercings and tattoos working at any of these coffee shops. I've never seen a girl with bright green or pink or purple or blue hair working at one of these coffee shops. Now, I don't personally drink coffee, but I do work next to one. And I never see this. Like, all the girls there look really attractive. Like, almost model level attractive. And I know that they're all 18 or older. I've talked to a couple of them. And they are there from like 10 in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening. So they don't go to school, so they're clearly not a high schooler. Now, maybe they have the high schoolers come in, because some of them will, like, still have, like, a shift change at, like, maybe 2 or 3, and then they close at 8. But that's only, like, 1 or 2 days a week. Usually by 6 o'clock, I think, they're usually shut down. So maybe a few are high school kids. But most of the women that work at these things are adult women. And they look really good. Now, maybe that's different in a bigger city. But most of the time, it's because nobody wants to buy shit from people that don't look good. If you don't take care of yourselves, if you're covered in freaking tattoos, it's called a business model. They want to project that they have a good business model. And the way they do that is by having people that look good, take care of themselves, and can sucker you into buying shit because the person looks good. I mean, if I were still married, the idea of Sydney Sweeney is if I had a wife who looked somewhat close, I would say, hey, if I go buy my wife these jeans, she might look as good in them as Sydney Sweeney does. Or the girl might say, hey, I have a similar body style. Let me go buy those jeans. Oh, I'm sorry, but most of the women who were doing all the complaining were fat women. So that's the basic point here. It's simple advertising. Sex sells. It always has. It always will, because people want to buy shit from good-looking people. People are sucked in by a pretty face. Now, granted, you do have some people out there who are somewhat strange, who aren't attracted to anybody. And I mean, like, they're not attracted to men or women. They want to live and die alone. So yeah, that falls short. But a mass majority of people, especially younger people or single people, are attracted to good-looking people. So that's why the Sydney Sweeney thing was really done. And it wasn't some marketing to send a message. It was just sex sells. That's it. That's all it was. And the fact that people actually went through it and took these loop-de-loop, upside-down roller coasters to get to their conclusions, you gotta find a better thing to do, because you guys got way too much fucking time to think about this shit. Like I said, I thought about this, and this was the best I could think of that wasn't already said. Nobody actually came out and said what I just said. Like, they hinted at it, but they never actually just flat out said it. So I'm flat out saying it. So that is why the ad was done that way. And that's what sells. And if you had half a brain, you'd know that. But that's going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Like I said, my sympathies and my prayers go out to Charlie's family and to anyone who's lost a family member from 9/11. I know it's been a long time. I still remember where I had just gotten off a graveyard shift that morning, and I was home asleep in bed, and my roommate woke me up when it happened, and I watched it on the news for like 5 minutes, and I was falling back asleep because it was still pretty early, and I had barely gone to sleep when it happened. So, yeah. But I found out about it later, and I felt really bad for everything that was going on. And then suddenly there was like all these conspiracy theories that it didn't really happen, or the planes were empty, or you could see the face of Saddam Hussein in the smoke, laughing. I mean, tons. I've heard some really crazy theories. I don't care. I do know that people died. That's what was important. Many people died. And that should not have been allowed to happen. It should never have happened. It is sick to think that this shit goes on in our world. And it's only getting worse. And it needs to be stopped. And the government needs to do something more. They need to seriously start putting this, because every day there's something new, and this is just insane. I can't even, all the shootings that I just heard about, one about a shooting at a Catholic school. A Catholic school! So many people getting murdered on trains and street corners. Like daily. People who lie about police brutality until finally the police release the body cam footage and we find out this person's a fucking liar. Like, hello? What is wrong with you people? Wake up. I thought you were woke. I thought the left was all woke. I thought you woke up to what's really going on in the world. Doesn't seem like that. We're the ones awake, and we're trying to get you to wake up. You're sleeping on the job. You're living in La La Land. And as an author who writes fantasy, that's pretty bad if I'm more based in reality than you people. But like I said, that is going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I feel like I'm just going to start talking around in circles. So before I do that, I'm going to let you guys go. And I will see you all, or talk to you all next time. Bye.